We are at a very important place in our history, and this place is Ancestral Slave Market. I always say to my friends that, look, whenever you want to know where you are coming from, I always tell you the best place to start your search is the Ancestral. And people ask me, why Ancestral? And I tell them the history should let you know why it's Ancestral. Asin basically means persons in transit. So history has it that those of us that formed this community were captives who managed to escape. But because we did not know how to return to wherever we were captured, we formed part of this community. It wasn't only made up of Akans and Ghana, it was made up of African countries. People coming from different countries forming this core base of this community. So in this community, I have so many diversity. And that is why I always say that one of your ancestors stayed in Asin Manso. Today, for us in Asin Manso, we have a way of treating our ancestors right. Because we can even fight for them. You know why? Because once upon a time, we were also in the same place in Chapel. Today, we are yet to celebrate them. Asin Manso as a slave market is not only limited to this area. It goes all the way to the community, but development has catch up. But the reason why this area has been confined is that this area has been identified to have been the slave cemetery within the slave market. So everywhere here served as a slave cemetery. That was why when you were coming through the main gate looks very short. So most of you came through like this. Yes, unconsciously, you already paid your respect to the grounds. Because if you don't treat your grounds right, do you expect the Caucasian to make it better? So we have to treat our land right. So this land comes with so many rules and regulations. And if you can go by it, it's better you stay. Because I cannot sit for you to look down upon my ancestors. Because if it wasn't for them, you and I will never be here. During the discourse of the slave trade, we are aware there was this indenture system that we were practicing before the arrival of the Europeans. Now, with our indenture system, it is when the labor of the captives was what was bought, but not their bodies. They had rights, they had privileges, and they were not owned. They were even able to rise to the highest rank in the society. A typical example is this community. The chief of today in Asin Manso was once a descendant of slave, but he is the chief of this community. Why? Because of what he possesses, the community thought it was that he is one of us, there's nothing like a slave, so he has to rule over us. This system that we were practicing was so different from what was imposed on us by the Europeans. If you want to know how different that was, just read the law on slavery in Carolina in 1616, and you're going to understand everything. In that law, they stated that all free men would have absolute right over their enslaved person, and they could do whatsoever they wish to do to you, and no one could question them. In that enactment, the difference between an enslaved person and your sunglass is that the enslaved person has a soul. But the same way you could easily get annoyed and break your sunglass was the same way you could break the soul and spirit of an enslaved person. This system in Carolina has already been introduced to us here in Ghana in 1471. That was when the first European arrived. They were the Portuguese, and they were led by Prince Henry the Navigator. Now, when you read many literatures about the trade, you'll be told that the Portuguese landed here as traders. But I get confused. You don't know the place. You don't know what is in there. You've never been in there. So how then do you land in there and trade? Who are you trading with? What are you trading? They never landed here as traders as they made you to believe. They first landed here as spies. When they got on the shore, they saw you. You caught their attention. They saw how the sun could smile on your skin. They saw how organized, how talented, and how coordinated you were. They even saw how you know God. Because King Leopold said, when you get to Africa, never tell the Negroes about God, because they know who God is. Instead, tell them that blessed is the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of God. When they saw all this about you, you caught their attention because they knew there's more about you that they need today. So in digging, that is when we came in. They used you, they used us. They capitalized on our hospitality. And our hospitality gave them the chance to penetrate and enter in us, and they became part of us. We never saw no evil. We never thought evil, because we never thought anything that somebody would do something as bad as this to us. Just as accommodative as we are, we always welcome them home, because we are seen as mothers. We always welcome our children to us. We don't divide. We don't discriminate. So we brought them together. Just like you come to my home, I have to treat you with the best of milk, even if I don't know you, because we believe that you can even use a stranger to develop a country.